Thank you, Dr. Venkatesh Babu, sir. Very good morning, all of you. I am Dr. Vasuki. I'm here in the 5 days online FDP on evolution of teaching learning process post COVID-19. Today, I'm going to talk on student mentoring and guidance. As Dr. Venkatesh Babu introduced me, I am an admissions professor in the Department of Biomedical Engineering, and I'm having around 26 years of teaching and administrative experience. I'm very happy to be here to share about students mentoring and guidance. And actually, I have to thank Dr. Venkatesh Babu sir for giving me this wonderful opportunity in this COVID-19 lockdown. So, shall go into it. First, let us see the definition of students mentor. Association for Supervision and Cultural Development, a lexicon of learning, defines mentoring as a role model who offers support to another person, has knowledge and experience in an area and shares it with the person being mentored. Learning mentors help pupils overcome behavioral, social, and emotional problems that are affecting their learning. Learning mentors work on a group or one-to-one basis with children of all ages. Coming to the value of the mentor, a mentor is an experienced friend or a confidant. Take a moment to reflect on your education or career journey. If you are lucky enough to have someone who helped you along the way, then you the first hand know the value of a mentor. Many of the world's most successful business and world leaders credit mentors as key contributors to their success. So according to the studies of National Mentoring Partnership, mentoring has positive impact on students, greater self-esteem, they benefit from social, emotional development, all critical for making the most of academic and career goals. The 3 C's of the mentorship. Role number 1, it is consultant. This is the most obvious role for a mentor to play. Role number 2, it is the counselor. So this only we are going to see in detail in the few slides which are going to come now. Listen attentively. So that is the counselor's major principle. Role number 3 is cheerleader. In addition to all the constructive feedback and advice that a mentor can give, they should also provide support and enthusiasm. So these are the 3 C's of the mentorship. What are the qualities to focus on? As you can see in the figure, the mentoring project includes motivation, career, growth, learn, advice, success, direction, career, coaching, goal. Coming to the qualities to focus on by a counselor or a mentor, they should make the students feel free and secure. Respect between the mentor and the mentee. The mentor has to build in confidence on the student whom he or she is mentoring on. Again, listen attentively and carefully. Truth and empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feeling of another. Confidential and no exploitation. The mentor should be able to should give a good solution to the mentee. Encourage and motivate the student. They can also record the events, the student counseling they can record for future reference if they want, but they should be very confidential about that. So mentoring students is rewarding. We mentors witness the growth, discovery, and learning of our students. So post-COVID-19 pandemic, it has forced around 1.4 billion students to stay at home. According to UNESCO monitoring, over 160 countries have implemented nationwide closures, impacting over 87% of world students' population. India has more than 300 million students in 1.4 million schools, 51,000 colleges. Online classes have become a great savior for higher education in India during this period. The fear of poor quality online teaching and the hesitation on the part of faculty members to use online portals have now completely disappeared. priority in the education sector. So when students return to colleges, they are least prepared for any form of traditional testing. All such testings should be put on hold at all levels. More emphasis on instruction and emotional development. They should be allowed to have their own learning options. Creating personalized portfolios and project-based learning. So these are the immediate priority in the education sector. Post-COVID-19 pandemic, a shift in the mindset will be needed to teach and learn. Teachers are as important as health workers. Psychological impact disrupting the mental health of people and especially students. In adults, students are being swayed by the panic in the air. So Indian universities should utilize information technology to create an advantageous position for 666 million young Indians who are below 25 years of age. Student counseling system in universities. UGC Secretary Jaspal Singh Sandhu said in a letter to Vice Chancellors of all the universities on January 29, 2016, to put in place a student counseling system for redressal of problems and challenges faced by the students. This system should be interactive and target-oriented, involving all the students, teachers, as well as parents. Address common student concerns ranging from anxiety, stress, fear of change, failure to homesickness, and other academic worries. These are the basic components of the counseling services. It starts with the organization setup. Counseling center, a counseling committee consisting of various members of the colleges, universities, or affiliated institutions, tools for counseling services, and of course, requirement of counseling services. Coming to the organizational setup, at universities, it is assisted by the deans and heads of the departments of psychology and education for guiding the committee and the counseling officer. For constituent colleges, if the students are less than 1,000, they need a liaison officer, while if it is greater than 1,000, they need an assistant counseling officer. Of course, it is assisted by a guidance committee in cooperation with the deputy chief and academic advisor, who plans according to their needs and number of students.
The results should have.
Coming to the affiliated colleges, a counseling officer assisted by the guidance committee and occasional guidance officer, they are needed for greater than 1,000 students. As like constituent colleges, if the students are less than 1,000, then a liaison officer can manage the counseling services. So this is about the organization setup. All universities and large colleges should have a counseling center headed by a traditional professional, that is a counseling officer with a PhD or a master's degree in psychology and counseling with considerable experience. It performs these following functions like selection, registration, and orientation of students, educational and occasional counseling, personal judgment counseling, physical and psychological services, remedial services, residence and food services, activities program. Who are the members of the counseling committee? It includes administrator, principal or dean of the constituent colleges or universities, counseling liaison officer, deputy chief, hostel warden, library, counseling person or counselor, vocational guidance officer, teacher or faculty from different departments, student representative, and of course, parents. Tools for counseling services. This includes interview, observation, anecdotal record, cumulative record, checklist, social, and diary. So interaction between the they have a definite object in their mind. There is a careful watching of mentoring of the counselor by the counselor observation tool. An anecdotal record consists of recording an important incident that happened and is a carefully recorded snapshot of the incident. Cumulative record It is a method of recording and providing meaningful, significant, and comprehensive information about an individual over a year. Checklist. It is used to identify the presence or absence of specific attributes or skills of a particular expected behavior in the students. Rating scale. It is a better tool to assess the degree or extent of the performance of a particular task or position of a trait. Sociometry. It is used to measure sociability or the social distance between students or members of a program. Autobiography and diary. It may also use to produce useful information. Next is a counselor, stands for the following steps. C. They maintain confidentiality. They should clearly and meaningfully observe what the student says. You, unbiased. Definitely, this criteria is very important for an effective counselor. Have to be unbiased in whatever they are dealing with. N, non-judgmental. S, sensitive to the needs of the student. E, empathetic. L, listens carefully. Let the student make the decisions. You don't dictate them. O, open-minded. R, respects the rights of the student. So this role the counselor stands for. Coming to the characteristics of a counselor. Interpersonal relationship. There should be a friendly nature. As I told you before, the mentor has to attentively listen to the student with a tactfulness. They should be sympathetic. They should be understanding. The next characteristics is a personal adjustment. Maintain emotional stability. They should be able to accept criticism. Maintain patience. They should be emotionally sound and healthy. Coming to the scholastic potentials. They should be more committed, possess good judgment. You should direct the student. Next, professional dedication should be of good character, faith in human values, with a great personality. Professional dedication should helping and find. They should have a pleasing voice and appearance, vitality. As I told you, empathy is a very, very important factor for mentoring. So it includes support, training, motivation, advice, and through the proper goals to achieve success. So this is about mentoring. Coming to the role of mentors. Educate students regarding proper study habits. Arrange individual discussion with students and parents for giving them educational and occupational information. Maintain active relationship with schools, colleges, and universities. Refer serious mental disturbance conditions to clinical psychologist or psychiatrist. Help in the student placements. Arrange for industrial visits to business establishment, offices, higher education institution, and important educational places. Mentoring, a concept. In academics, mentoring is often used synonymously with a faculty advisor. An effective mentoring relationship is characterized by mutual respect, trust, understanding, and empathy. They are good listeners, good observers, and good problem solvers, as we have seen it already. They make an effort to know, accept, and respect the goals and interests of the student. So this is all the concept of mentoring. What are the responsibilities of a mentor? Advise on what you know, don't dictate. Provide relevant examples and resources. You can tell the students, share some motivated stories. Your mentee's weaknesses, but built on his or her strengths. Constructive criticism. You should put down. Don't shy away from difficult conversations. Coming to the relationships varies and the mentor. There are some students require different kinds of attention. Students will feel comfortable approaching their mentors. Some students will feel shy, intimidated, or reluctant to seek. But a good mentor is always available and approachable. Careful listening. A good mentor is a good listener. Pay attention to the student's words, including tone, attitude, and body language. Through careful listening, you convey your empathy for the student. Keeping in touch. The amount of attention that a mentor gives will vary widely. Don't assume that the only students who need help are those who ask for it. Multiple mentors. Everyone benefits from multiple mentors of diverse talents, ages, and personalities. Sometimes a mentoring team works best. You can get the consultations from various professors, various teachers, the class teachers, the project mentors, whoever it is. So it should be group work. That is what multiple mentors meant. Building networks. So building a professional network is a lifelong process. Build their network of contacts and potential mentors. Dealing with population diversity issues in years to come. Female students, students from rural areas, students from minority might make up the majority of the population from which scientists and engineers will emerge. Female representation. In some fields, the confidence of the female students might be low, aware that they need extra support. Advising students of different cultural backgrounds, different learning styles, family issues. Mentors should be alert to the students. After lockdown, if the having medical problems to be carefully dealt with by the mentors. Next, very important issue, sexual harassment. There should be extra sensitivity to avoid the appearance of sexual harassment. Be guided by common sense and the knowledge of your own circumstances. Is it appropriate to invite the student to discussions at your home? Not at all. At the same time, you should not ask the students to close the door or something like that, which the student is going to feel uneasy. So these are the important things when you are doing a counseling with the opposite sex. Disability issues. Be careful not to underestimate the potential of a student who has a disability. Persons with disabilities can function at the same level as other students, but they might need assistance to do so. Every student needs a mentor, definitely. So what do we do when a student is failing? What is the role of the mentor? Because the mentor is to help students even when in their academic student is a student. And then address the problem of the student. Determine the cause. Talk with the student, you listen what the student says, all the solutions, maybe a multiple solution, And finally, you want and get guidance from the administrators or counseling leaders from the colleges, universities. Finally, solution. So the first step must be to gathering the data to understand the problem at hand. In all cases, the main thing is talk directly to the student. Consider the solution. Again, each case will be distinct and multiple solutions definitely may be attempted. And finally, act. Once the problems are identified and options weighed, the mentor should definitely act. Frank, open, and straightforward communication is, of course, recommended. Here are some ways you can help young people as a mentor. Improve social skills. Make the students better leaders. Help them develop strong communication skills by enabling them to relate to different kinds of people. Ask them to be bold. Bolster self-esteem. Recognize and celebrate the student's success. Provide career exploration. Act as a career counselor, helping students to brainstorm career possibilities. Support academic activities. You can act as an academic tutor if they have any trouble in any of the subjects. And if you are very well versed in some subjects, you can definitely give a guidance to them. Finally, be a friend. Some students find it's difficult to talk to the parents or the friends about what they feel in their mind. So help them out. It is a meaningful way to give back to your community. So be an advisor, be a teacher. You have to be definitely a role model to the students. Because you're playing a very important role in their life. And above all, you have to be a friend to them. So inspiration, inspire, motivate, motivational action. Inspire them to motivate themselves. Motivation is like fire. Unless you keep adding fuel of your belief, it dies. Ask them to write down their goals and keep it in front. They perform this auto suggestion statement made in the regularly. This is what is called as suggestion. You would have seen in the cricket team, no, they'll be holding their shoulders and they will circle around themselves. They'll be telling positive things for them to boost up. So several times each day, you might say to yourself, I feel more and more confident every day. Some students will have a drive from inside. And this is not the case for all the students. Many needs immense motivation and inspiration. So there are some motivational stories for students to work hard. Stories are always a favorite area for students that invoke their love and interest. I will also share some few stories. Here we can have a look at a few motivational stories. All of us know about KFC chicken, how the students love to have it. Kentucky Fried Chicken. The real life story of Colonel Harlan Sanders was behind this KFC. His seventh grade dropped out, started selling chicken at the age of 40. You just imagine his recipe got rejected 1009 times. And his dream of starting a restaurant has been rejected many times. And finally, his secret recipe, KFC, became a huge hit worldwide. And all what happened afterwards, everybody knows about it. What is a moral we learn from his life? Try hard and believe in yourself until you see success, despite how many times you have failed. Once a lecturer came inside a classroom with a jar in his hand. The students were amused. In the jar, and he asked the students, full. The student said, yes, sir, the jar is full. This jar went into inside the vacant spaces occupied the vacant spaces between the big rocks. After filling it, again he asked the students, is the jar filled? Yes, sir, the jar is full now. Then lastly, he started adding sand. And the sand occupied the spaces, tiny spaces between the pebbles and the rocks. So what are the rocks stands for? There are important things in life. Our family, friends, beloved people, well-being, being able to live. So all these are the rocks. And what about the pebbles? The pebbles are the things in your life that matters. Our hobbies, job, house, car, etc. And sand is the remaining filler things. Watching TV, some quarrel or ego, social media, playing games, everything is the sand. If you start with putting sand into the jar, you will not have room for rocks or pebbles. So what is the model? You should identify your priorities in life. So the rocks are the priorities. If you first fill with the sand, which are the least things, material possessions, then you will not find place for the important things in our life. So those are the rocks. The moral is you should identify your priorities in life and develop a good strategy to work towards fulfilling it. And again, value yourself. Once a speaker asked the people by showing a 20-rupee note, who wants this? All of them lifted their hands naturally. What he did, he crumpled the paper money and showed it again. Still everyone raised the hands. He then put the money into the ground, stepped onto it, and then raised it again and offered it to the public. Even the note is crumpled and dirty. All the public, they raised their hands. He told the public, no matter what I did to this money, you all still wanted this because the value of money never decreased. Similarly, value yourself despite the painful conditions or failures. What is the model we got from this story? Believe and value yourself and work hard to achieve success. And finally, one more story, very interesting. It's time to sharpen your axe. There was a newly joined woodcutter, and the king was really impressed by his hard work. Because he was so energetic, he could cut 18 trees in the first month. But the next month, he could cut only 15 trees. And the third month, it reduced to 12 trees. The king visited him, talked about his decrease in productivity. He explained that he might have lost his strength to do the work, or he must have become old in 3 months. He's not able to cut 18 trees as the first month. The king asked him, when was the last time you sharpened your axe? To his surprise, he has not even done it once in the last 3 months. That was the only reason why he couldn't cut more trees. So the moral is, it is good that you put in a lot of effort and hard work, but save some time for your family to relax, which would be boost up your productivity. So these are some motivation stories which I was impressed, so that I thought I can share with you during this time. Next, we shall see the phases of counseling. There are 5 phases. It has been divided into 5 phases. Establishing relationship is phase 1. Phase 2, assessment. Phase 3 is about setting goals. Phase 4 is intervention. And phase 5 is termination and follow-up. Phase 1, establishing relationship. Introduce each other and establish a primary rapport. You have to introduce yourself to the student. The student has to feel comfortable with you. You have to establish primary rapport so that the student talks very freely with you without any hidden thoughts. Always address a student by his or her name. Even in the classrooms, we as a lecturer or a professor, we used to call the students by numbers. They are not mere numbers. We used to call by number 21, number 22. They are not numbers. They are human beings. Always address a student by his or her name. This brings a personal attachment towards a student. Ensure physical comfort of a student and self. They should not feel disturbed, as I told you. Do not interrupt when the mentee is talking. Don't interrupt them. Otherwise, the flow in which they are talking, they may hide some feelings. Listen attentively. This is what I've been telling from the beginning. Listening is very, very important. Observe even the non-verbal communication. So this all included in phase 1, that is establishing a relationship. Very, very important. Only if you're success in the first step, you can go further. Next is phase 2. Phase 2, assessment, a data collection phase. Complete information about the problem. If your first phase is success, the assessment phase is very easy. The data can be general, physical, or psychological. Diagnosis related on the student's behavior. You observe the body language. The techniques should be used for the data collection. We were talking about the techniques in the before slides. So these are the techniques should be used for the data collection. Make cumulative record and case studies. You can make a cumulative record and you can preserve these records. Maybe in future, for some other student counseling, this can be useful. But keep in mind, you have to keep every counseling as confidential to yourself. Phase 3 is setting goals. Consider student strength, weakness, constraints, and available resources. The goal could be immediate and ultimate. Multifaceted knowledge related to the problem has to be approached, has to be judgmental, planning, and management skills. Help the student to set a feasible, reliable, and achievable goals. Intervention is phase 4. The student is suggested the best possible options for the management of the present problem. Rather than you suggest a solution, you should make the student to find the solution. That will be more effective. The intervention depends on the approach used by the counselor, the problem, and the individual. The choice of the intervention is a process of adaptation. And finally, phase 5 is a termination and follow-up. This is the final stage of the counseling, where the counseling comes to an end. The termination should be planned well ahead. Students should feel comfortable at the departure, gradually able to handle the problem independently. Follow-up sessions may be required. So what you have to do to the student is, when they think about the college days, when they are at 30 years or 40 years, it should bring happy memories, not a sad feeling. So for that, the mentor is playing a very, very important role. Almost, I've come to the conclusion. Lockdown versus real classroom. So this is the present situation, how the students will be during the lockdown. We, the teachers, are going to face the students after this lockdown, how the students are going to be, how we have to approach the students. It's not going to be the same thing. The other day, Dr. Suresh sir was talking on teaching learning process. He was telling that students are no longer going to be adapted to the online teaching. They want live, real, physical classrooms to meet friends of their age groups. So like that, we will see what are the challenges the students as well as we are going to face. In real classroom, the students will be in direct contact with friends and teachers. But at home, during lockdown, they face certain restrictions. Most of the time, they'll be with their parents or elders, maybe without proper guidance or good friends, no same age group people around them. A virtual life. It has become a virtual life, always with mobile phones or social media, laptops, tab, etc., etc. How long they're going to watch TV or with a laptop? Finally, it's a boredom. Communication gap, because they're not talking with their age group friends. So there are chances they'll become an introvert. They may seek for new friends for stress relief, who may be good or bad. If it is bad influence, bad habits, bad decision, so all in the mind game. So these are all the challenges the teachers are going to face. So what the parents may think that all the students are using this social media. So what if my children use it? Nothing wrong in it. So this is what most of the parents think. Therefore, the role of an effective mentor is inevitable for students to come out of this illusion COVID-19 lockdown. Mentors can make them realize the meaning of their life with a purpose, about self-control and self-analysis. Want them not to share personal information, especially with girls. So this is a very important problem now, as students are most of the time with the WhatsApp message or Instagram or all social media, whatnot. Finally, a student's voice before counseling. Oh my God, please help me. Why am I facing so much at such a rapid speed? Exams, grades, self-esteem, relationship, student loan, depression, midterms, peer pressure, bullying, assignment, etc., etc., etc. So this is what the student's voice. You just see how the student feels stressed. The same student's voice after an effective counseling. I no longer felt the heavy burden of sadness that I had felt before.
Can
The
you please go
mentor
back to the
asked me
previous slide?
if there was anything else I wished to talk about in my life, and for the first time, I was able to answer with a honest no.
Madam, sorry to interrupt, madam.
So we have come to the end of
Madam?
this session.
Madam,
One
sorry
and
to.
all.
Can you please go back to the second? Hello.
Hello, madam. Am I audible, madam? Can you hear me, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've come.
Madam, someone wants you to. Madam, someone wants you to go back 2 slides. They have some doubts. Can you do that?
Yeah, definitely, sir.
2 slides previous, madam. That the student was having so many problems. That slide, madam.
Exactly. That was the slide, ma'am. That was the slide.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you please don't talk, sir? You please don't talk, sir. We are taking care, sir. Please, sir. Madam, previous one, madam. Previous one. Previous one, madam. Previous one. This is the one. This is the one. This is the one. This is the one. Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
What doubt you have, sir?
He wants you to explain this. He wants you to explain this, please.
See, in a conclusion, I wanted to show how a student feel before an effective counseling and after an effective counseling. See, you can see how the photo, there is no need to explain because you can see how the student is stressful by all this tuition fees, relationships, self-esteem, grades. And I've shown a girl also, peer pressure, bullying. So, you know what all the mental torture the student has. As I told you in the lockdown period, they're always with the mobile phones. They talk with their friends. And some people, no, some students may they take advantage. They may be bad, but these students know for stress relief, they want someone to talk with. So they want to talk with new friends. They want to talk some new ideas. Suppose if that person is a bad one, then bad habits will be cultivated like that. Only drugs, alcoholics, if they are boys, no. So these are the things. Now girlfriends, boyfriends and all gone. Now girl bestie, boy bestie. Hope you all understood what is happening now. So slowly our culture is diminishing. So uh, this to strengthen our culture and tradition back. So we have to act as a pillars to bring it back, because we have a very good rich tradition and culture. And this are all in the hands of the students, because they are going to be the future citizens of India. So this is what I have showed you here. A student's voice before counseling. Oh my God, please help me, because why I have to face all this at a rapid speed. And the same student, I've just told how she feels relaxed after all this effective mentoring tools and all this counseling, everything. She feels relaxed. So that's what she says. Even if the mentor asked me if there was anything else I wish to talk, I was able to answer me a honest no. That's all. Any doubts? Hope the doubt has been cleared.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
How can
Yes, sir. Hello.
madam is not answering. I don't know what happened. He's not answering.
Okay, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So are you done, ma'am? Is your presentation complete? Fine, madam. Yes, madam. Fine, madam. Thank you so very much for your presentation. We have a nice time. And thank you all. Thank you for being with us. Now we have the next session. Resource person, Mr. Narayanan, is waiting there for us. Madam, you can, yes, madam. You can wind up. You can stop sharing your content so that Mr. Narayanan will start sharing his content.
So I
Thank you.
thank all of you. I thank all of you who patiently watched my presentation. This is a different one because all these 3 days we were talking about teaching learning process, IoT, etc. So now this
learning
is
process, IoT, etc.
this is to focus the student side.
To focus
So thank you once again, and thank you, Venkatesh Babu sir, for giving me this platform to share my views on student counseling and mentoring. And I thank the management, and I also thank Mr. Stephen for the technical support. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.